Hello and welcome to Women Empowerment Edition Impact for Change. The purpose of this podcast is to provide the space for women to share their story in an inspiring way to help impact and inspire other women out there to create change. Now, today's guest is a person who empowering others and work towards creating change in others' life. She is an elderly care expert who have experience for over 15 years in a care industry. Her vision is to help as many people as possible. She is also a mom of a 6-year-old boy and a wife as well. She successfully balance between being a mom and having a business. Her business is one of a successful business in the industry. Please help me welcome the powerful woman, Lucy. Lucy, you there?
Hello, yes, what a wonderful welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to the podcast, and thank you for accepting to being a guest in my podcast.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I just will say there with your introduction, that's a confidence boost straight away because when you listen back to someone, I've obviously met you online and I've told you what I do, but then hearing you telling me what I've told you what I do, it's a massive confidence boost. I just sat there thinking, actually, oh yeah, I've done quite a bit.
Well, you are quite empowering one. Like I yes, I we met through the social media, but you're quite inspiring, empowering one of woman, and what you do, it's absolutely mind blowing, Lucy.
Thank you. Yes, I love making a difference to other people's lives, like you were saying there, and it really is a rewarding job. I mean, any of the roles that I've had in the care industry have been amazingly rewarding, but this new project and our existing business, any little thing, is particularly rewarding because we've grown it and we own it, and it's very empowering indeed. It's very obviously I've been inspired by others, but it's lovely to be able to inspire people ourselves, and it's just amazing. Love it. Love, love, love.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So let's get started. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do? I did, touch briefly in introduction, but it will be incredible, to when you say and when you share with the listeners, with the women outside there.
Of course, yes. I'd love to. So I started up my home help business with my business partner Lisa and Bezzy Mate some time ago now. It was about 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Previous to that, worked in the care industry. So I've worked as a healthcare assistant within the NHS. I've worked privately with people with learning disabilities, young adults, and I took a short break from the industry and I worked for a printing company randomly. And I got made redundant. And I said to my friend Lisa, who I'd met at a centre where we work with special needs, that there seemed to be, I noticed there was a bit of a gap in between what the care companies do or did at the time
Mm.
and general home help services. So I invited her out for coffee. We had a little catch up with cake. And I said, wouldn't it be great if we started up something that could help with all the bits in between that the carers cannot? And wouldn't it be amazing if we could be a reliable and trustworthy service that empowered our customers to live independently in their home and or remain independently in their home for as long as possible, because that's what the system expects of our elderly generation now because of beds, you know, the amount of beds being low in the hospitals and things. They like the elderly to come home if they can do that. So yeah, she said yes after a little bit of bending her arm, and
Mm-hmm.
not long after we set up the business, I fell pregnant with my son. So I'm not sure what Lisa thought about that, but I blame her and her husband because we went on holiday with them not long after we set up the after we set up the business, and they both said, "Why don't you just have a baby? Come on!" And so I was like, "Oh, it's not really great timing for me." But we did, and Zebby is gorgeous. He's a lovely, lovely boy, and I spent a lot of time building the business in those early days of my pregnancy, and I wasn't a very good pregnant person. I had a lovely pregnancy. I'd had no sickness or anything like that. I was really, really blessed in that respect. But I just don't like not being able to do things myself. So I very
Mm,
stubbornly and reluctantly
yeah.
went on some sort of maternity leave. I think probably only about a month, 6 weeks before I was due to have Seppi. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm still down the stables because at the time I had a horse. I was mucking out a week before I went into labour, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it myself. And so yeah, it was the same in the business. We decided actually, I think it's probably best if you just calm down now, Lucy. But it was really hard taking that step back and
Mm,
um, almost feeling like I was losing touch with the
mm,
business, and I was really passionate about getting it started. It was the early days, right? So it was really difficult to sort of give in to the fact that, right, just in the present moment, I need to look after myself and birth a healthy child. That's my priority at the moment, and that was really difficult for me. Um, and then when I had Sebi, I didn't really have much of a maternity leave,
mm,
if I'm honest. And I was straight back into it. Seb used to come to work with me in the early days, and that was really tough as well. But I muscled on through. He's now 6. He's at school, so it's a lot easier now. But yeah, that when I sort of look at it again and I'm explaining to you, I think, wow, like we've really come on a long way in that time. But there have definitely been ups and downs. Um, but yeah, we're really proud of where we got to today. And then the newest project is just something that I've started up because I've recognised that there's not always the right support for people when they're caring for their elderly loved ones.
mm,
And it's been a big leap for me. I've had to really sort of work on my confidence, and I've had to really sort of have a clear vision and goal, because obviously any little thing still runs in the background. We've got a really healthy client base now, and we're always recommended in our area. But I
yeah.
wanted to do something even more. So I work
Mm,
closely with people one to one, where I help them find the right path and get on the
mm,
right path in finding the right care for their elderly loved ones, because quite often, sad as it is, the system in the UK is a little bit all over the place in many different areas, and people don't
yeah,
always get the right guidance.
that's
So I
true.
particularly help women in business or professionals, um, because I went on a business retreat. I'm very big on sort of personal development. I went on a business retreat in
Mm,
February, and it was almost like I had an epiphany, and I was working with people that had their own businesses, and they'd had to put their business on hold to
mm,
find the right care path for their loved ones, for their father or their mother. And I sort of had a light bulb moment, and I was like, even though it's really important to care for your loved ones, it's really
mm.
hard to take a step away from your own life, because that's important too. A bit like when I was pregnant, really. um, you want to succeed, don't you? And you want to carry on with your good work. So yeah,
Yes.
that's everything in a nutshell to date, and my mad roller coaster of a business life to date. But yeah, wouldn't change it.
And also like people want to make sure when they leave and they go for work, or they travel for work or something, they want to make sure that the people that they love are safe and secure. So
Yes.
first of all, I mean, that is an incredible idea that you came with, you and your partner, and that your service can be start of something amazing. Because I know personally, a friend of mine, she have got her grandparents, one of her mother, father, an older person,
Mm.
and every day they have a challenge on, bringing a nurse and finding somebody who's there, because everyone is busy in their lives, like nobody's looking after that older person. So providing service like, like what you do is an incredible asset to all the elder people out there, and also help people out there, to put their mind at ease and make them feel,
Mm,
yes, when we go,
definitely.
we can rely on somebody. We know if I'm at work, I know
Yes.
my grandparents, they are safe, and they know they have, service, they have somebody who's looking after them. But to elaborate what you said, the service, can you tell us a little bit of the service that you provide to these older people?
Yeah, sure. So we do things like, so in within any little thing, we can't provide any medication needs or personal care needs,
Mm,
but we can help with appointment runs. We can take people to their appointments and stay with them, because taxi drivers obviously don't do that. And free services, free transport services are great, but they're often there all day at the hospital and they might not need to be. We can pick up prescriptions, even though we don't deal with the medication itself. We can pick that up for them. We can take them shopping, go shopping for them. We do quite a lot of cleaning, but we call that disguised companionship, because quite often, more often than not, these houses that we go to are not very dirty at all. And they say, "Well, could you clean my house?" It's like, "Well, it's not dirty. I think I'm going to make it dirtier by cleaning for you." So really, it's just being an extra pair of ears and eyes for the family, to
Mm.
be some company and conversation for people that are really quite lonely but wouldn't like to admit to it necessarily. Um, so yeah, just we're the old-fashioned home help service, and it's a really popular service here in Essex where I live, and we do hope that we can expand on that. We did look into franchising at one point, but the customers that we were looking after at the time meant that we were sort of occupied with doing that, and that's our priority. But if the opportunity presents itself,
Mm.
then we certainly won't say no. But it's just a really nice thing to be able to do, because I've worked in care and it can be quite physically and mentally draining. But with this, the beauty of this is that we can do all the fun bits. And people say to me, "Oh, cleaning, is that really fun?" But we have a nice little chat whilst we're doing it, and there's no pressure. We're a want rather than a need. So it's really enjoyable. Absolutely love it.
Wow, wow, it's an incredible. I'm sure like people after they're gonna listen this, they're gonna say, please, please, Lucy, we need your help, because your service
I
is
know, I
is
know.
basically what really the NHS are lacking. And I think
Yes,
your idea have, you know, um closed that void, and in
yeah.
helping
Well,
older
what
people.
people, yeah. So you've got two separate sectors. You've got the healthcare sector and the social care sector, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, they do clash somewhat. Um, so the healthcare sector is obviously the NHS, and our customers, and all the elderly, and patients in general, they're discharged from the healthcare sector, and then the social care sector is looking at them in their homes. So they do clash, and the funding's different, and it's just so complicated. So I think having that middle ground of, we're sending you home, the healthcare sector are sending you home. We do have a lot of contacts in social services that will recommend us,
Yeah.
because that person's just desperate to have that extra helping hand, like you said. So you're right. Yes, it is a much needed service. Um, so yeah, it's we're very proud of it.
Well, the world should be proud of it, anyone who's
We're
listening
going to
to this.
change the world.
Yes, yes, a great idea. I'm just gonna go back a little bit, because I know in the introduction I did mention that you are a mom as well, and you've got the 6-year boy, and fantastic. So, what challenge that have you encountered through your journey of you building your business, being a businesswoman and being a mother?
Hmm. Where shall I start? There's quite a lot. No, it's. I'll tell you what the most challenging thing is almost the thing that kind of helps you on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So when we become a mum, we're just mum, aren't we?
Yeah.
We lose our identity a little bit. So even though I didn't have a maternity leave as such, I was also quite grateful that I had something to go to and something to do.
Yeah.
So at times when it may have been difficult, I recognised that it was really important for my mental health. It was really, and my horse at the time, sadly, I lost her last year, but she was a great mental health crutch for me at the time as well. But I had a
Mm.
purpose. And so being able to carry on working, because obviously it was my own business with Lisa, I was able to do that. And that was great. But I
Yeah.
have to say, it was quite difficult too, because you have those lovely sleepless nights, you have, ill children at times that can be challenging. So you're
Yeah.
constantly having to kind of reassure yourself. So you have to be very strong minded. I've had to at times, that you are doing a good thing, that
Mm.
it's only temporary, that it might be a bit of a challenge, that if you carry on, then this could be something big and this could be for something fantastic. And I could be setting up a legacy for my child when he's older, not only teaching him how important it is to work hard, because, to achieve what you want, but also mummies work hard as well as daddies. Um, so it was really important to me to keep on top of that. And in order to do that, I'm always constantly working on my personal growth. I can't tell you how many books I've read on personal growth since I started up my business,
Mm.
just to keep my positivity going. Because at times I have been negative and I have been thinking, what am I doing? Why don't
Mm.
I just go and get a 9 to 5? Why don't I just go and work for my husband? Why don't I just give it all up and just stay at home mum? And I'll tell you why. It's
Mm.
because it's something for me, and it's something that I do for my own sanity. So I've got something to call my own. And I think, tying in with where I started at the beginning of your question there, losing your identity can be quite detrimental to your health, and sometimes you can spiral. So
Yeah.
it's really important to keep on top of that. So that's probably the biggest challenge that I've had, but I've overcome it with a fabulous business partner, fabulous
Mm-hmm.
customers.
Mm.
And as the children get older, it does become easier. And I've only got one child, so that does make it a little bit easier for me. But parenting is I wish there was a manual for it, but there isn't. Um, so really, I suppose that's the main thing, the main challenge that I come up a lot, and that's why I work on my personal growth and um, almost like having a little internal conversation with yourself. And
Mm.
in your heart of hearts, don't you, if something's right and if it's
Yeah.
not. And all the way through this, I've like thought, no, I'm making too much of a difference to give this all up, and I don't want to fail. Although on the flip side of that, I don't think there's such thing as failure. You learn from your experiences, but that's a whole different conversation. But that's the doubt that comes into your mind, isn't it, sometimes? um yeah, that's probably my biggest challenge. And then running a business, um, staff, and we've got a great team, but finding that great team is really difficult. We're quite fussy.
Mm.
So that's probably an internal struggle that I've had to deal with when running the business. But
Mm.
yeah, I think that answers your question. I do apologise if I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there.
No, 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 not at all. I mean, you sharing, your story, and this help women out there, who are being mom, and they try to build a business out there, and they don't know how to navigate through it and get through it. Once they hear that, they can get empowered and, inspired as well
Mm,
to go. with their
I
life, and
suppose,
to go and do something and take a step.
yeah, I suppose my message there is in summarization, if you want something,
Mm,
then just do it. Don't hold yourself back because you're a mum. Don't hold yourself back because of negative Nellies that surround you. Don't hold yourself back because of your own self-doubt. You've just got to
mm,
go for it if it feels right. And life's short, life's precious, and we get constantly reminded that with our customers and with some of my
mm.
clients that I speak to. And if you say no to everything, you'll never know. So
Yes,
if you've got an opportunity that presents itself, or you have an idea and you want to progress in it, then just go for it.
that is really incredible. But Lucy, like, as you can see, I know so many women out there, they want to start a business. Either they don't know how, or they stuck
Yep.
in the middle, or they have, because some of them, they may have mom guilt. They don't want to leave their children
Yes.
and go to and start a business, or go to work, or you know um do something, follow their goals and their dreams. Now, as you, Lucy, that you have balanced, the life between you being like a mother and being a businesswoman, what did you do to
Yep.
create that balance? What the first step that you took to create that balance between motherhood and the business?
I think I think what it comes down to is possibly pure stubbornness. um, Obviously, I started the business before Sebi was even an idea,
Mm-hmm.
and but it was in its very early days. I thought Lisa might kill me when she found out, but she was really pleased. She's a good friend, and I think you then you then have this kind of like, or I had this drive in me. I was like, I can't let this fail. I won't let this fail. We're gonna really make this work.
Mm-hmm.
It is difficult. You're saying there that people don't know how. I didn't know anything about running a business. I mean, I dabbled my toes in kind of a few network marketing companies, and
Mm-hmm.
I qualified as a masseuse, so I did a little bit of Swedish massage and reflexology for friends and family, but I hadn't really ever sort of taken a real leap into running a business. And I think I've got a really good mentor called Charlie Day, and I started following her in the lockdown. And obviously, Seb was only very young, and um, we were at home a lot. And I just kind of started. This is where I would probably advise people to start. I was just started sort of like soaking up all of the knowledge that I could from people that had their own businesses,
Mm-hmm.
that perhaps were mums themselves, but not necessarily essential. And what were they doing that made them so successful? And all of them were taking chances. And it is really hard when you're a mum to break away from that self doubt. But the more you
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with people that have positivity in their life, that are successful, that not necessarily have what you want, because everyone wants different dreams and goals and stuff, the more you'll find yourself really getting addicted to that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the biggest thing for me, and I think it's the best thing for anyone out there that's lacking in confidence to move forward in a business idea, or they're in the early stages like I was when I had Sebi, just make sure that you are always learning and surrounding yourself with those positive people that support you and are as mad as you in
Mm-hmm.
going on this crazy journey. Um, it is hard sometimes. I'm not going to lie. It is hard sometimes. But as long as you learn how to control that doubt
Mm-hmm.
or any negativity that seeps in from either a loved one or your friends or family, whoever, just don't lose your end goal, and don't lose your vision. It's really important. Um, Again, I hope that answers your question.
That's incredible. I know women out there, they're gonna listen, to this podcast. They are going to think about every word that you said today, because
Yeah,
some of them that truly, having the challenge between balancing between motherhood
Yeah.
and business. And some people go crazy, some people want to sacrifice, they don't want to sacrifice, either of them. And some of them, they sacrifice their business because of their family, and some of them, they sacrifice their family because of the business. So you
Yeah.
did say something very important there, Lucy, that is, I think, what will keep the women there, keep going, is surrounding themselves with people that support them.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Definitely.
the support is really important. I think, did you have that when you starting your business and you had your baby? You had that support as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was really lucky. I had the support of my mum, and I still do, with sort of baby, my mum and my dad for babysitting. My in-laws have always been very good as well. We've had friends that have looked after Sebi, and of course, I've only got one child.
Mm,
Um, it, I think as mums, we struggle to sort of fit time in for ourselves when we're learning how to be a mum. So, kind of going over what I was saying earlier and answering your second question there, I think you've just got to grab the snippets of time that suit you. So time blocking is really good. I'm not great at this, but time blocking is really good, where you set time aside each day. Obviously, when you've got young children, that's not always ideal, but just grab those snippets of time to do
mm,
something every day on your business and do something towards your idea that you're building.
mm,
And once you get the momentum going, then you're gonna start seeing progress. Um, I've never invested too much money in my business or my personal projects until they've started moving.
mm,
I've done many a free challenge on Facebook with many of the mentors I've met through the lovely Charlie and other networks I've been a part of.
mm,
I think we met through Amber's network, the Limitless Mum Academy. So she's one of those people, and these people have got fountains of knowledge, and you just need to soak it all up and feel like you're making progress. And before you know it, you're gaining that momentum, and it will start forming. You'll start seeing, no one else knows about your idea. So yes, you want to probably be earning as much money as you can as quickly as you can.
yeah,
And some people will grow faster than others, but it's important not to compare yourself to others and to surround yourself with that support network of business, like-minded business people, if you haven't got the support of your family, and vice versa. Like, it just, every situation is different, isn't it? So it
yeah,
really does depend
absolutely.
on that person. But for me personally, my family were really good when it came to looking after Seb. I've got a supportive husband. If I say, right, I'm going out tonight, he'll look after Seb. Or if I've got a meeting, I need you to be quiet, like I've just done this evening, he stays downstairs. So, it's the small things, isn't it? But I also appreciate it is difficult to get that balance. And I'm more than happy for people to reach out to me via yourself if if they want some crazy ideas from me that have worked. I mean, I've done things like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I take. I'm
absolutely.
just trying to think of some crazy ideas, things that I've been doing, but yeah, you can make it work. You've just got to find your own way.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more, Lucy. The people that you surround yourself with, either they make you or break you. So
Yep.
absolutely. And you said something earlier that is beautiful as well. Personal development. You was talking about personal development, reading books and listening to stuff that helped you empowered. Because sometimes, Lucy, I know women who started their business and they don't have that support system, and their mind, they keep going back to where they are because people keep telling them you're not good enough. How can you
Hmm.
take, how can you leave your children and go for work? They have that guilt. When that guilt,
Mm,
piled up, that's when they feel stuck. And that's when some people, they take
yes.
even the decision to sacrifice their dreams and goals for the children. And then they end up
Yeah.
feeling
Listen,
miserable after that.
it, Yes, definitely. And I think an important thing to say there is you've got to try really, really hard to drown out the negative Nellies. What does it matter if and you know, I appear on the exterior to be a confident person and I empower others, but I spend a lot of time helping other people. And so I have to work all the time, not worrying about what other people think. And that is probably quite a tricky thing for everybody to do. And I want to just put it out there to all of your listeners. You you have to try and drown those negative Nellies because they're always going to be there. They're always going to be there. And so just concentrate. I would say you do you. Concentrate on what you want. And if it means, so when Sebby was younger, I used to listen to, or through lockdown, I'd listen to podcasts. I
Mm,
find them really great. And you start building a really good relationship with that person in your head. Like you feel like you know them. And most of the books that I've read, the personal growth books, have been of late people that I've actually met, people that have been part of my network on social media that I've actually maybe not met in person, but I've met online. I have met some of them in person. I'm like,
mhm.
right, I'm going to read that. That's great because everyone has a different energy, don't they? But you've
Yes,
got to try hard. I'm very passionate about trying to drown out those negative Nellies um, and reach for the stars.
absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And what would you say to these women who started the business and started, and they are mothers, but they try and find that challenge? They're having challenges between balancing between both of them. So, what advice could you give to these women, these moms, and these business women out
Hmm.
there?
It's going to be tough for the first couple of years, but what you put in, you will get out.
Mm,
And so if you are happy to make small sacrifices, not necessarily big ones, because I would definitely um, say that the early years of your children's life are I would say the most important because you're watching them grow and you'll never get those moments back. But I do think that you need to. I think the time blocking would be the best thing, and also I'm quite a visual person. I love a vision board or I love visualizing things in my head. So
mm,
another lady that's great to follow online is Lisa Williams, and she's the vision board queen. And I think that's a really good thing to have because as a mum on those days where you are finding things more challenging, a quick glimpse at a visual to remind you of why you're doing it all is far easier than maybe picking up that book or listening to that podcast that day or meeting up with a friend for coffee because you might not have time or you might not be able to because the baby's ill or your children are ill. So having a visual to look at to remind you why you're doing it
mm,
is a great way to try and combat the challenges. And you are going to have days where you just can't do anything, and that's fine. Don't feel guilty about that. Don't beat yourself up, and make
mm.
sure that the next day, perhaps you wake up a bit earlier and just start your day in a bit of a different way. Perhaps, meditation or yoga or go to the gym or go for a walk if you can, or just simply wake up with a simple affirmation that sets you up differently for that day and takes you on a bit of a different path.
That is an incredible advice to all women in out there, especially moms who are trying to balance in
Yeah,
between motherhood and business as well.
yeah, because we do put ourselves under a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure.
Wow. I hope, the women who listen to you there, they will take that advice into consideration and stop feeling guilty and just go after the dreams, go after their
Yeah,
goals and make sure like just feeling
yeah,
confident that they know they can balance between both um which is
yeah,
being a mom and running a business. So if people want to
yeah.
connect with you, Lucy, where would they find you? if they want to like use your
Oh, I'm
service or
everywhere.
connect with you personally, because I know, because I know there is people gonna use your service.
Well, I am so linking in with your podcast theme. I have got actually a little side hustle. So if anyone wants to advertise their business or become part of a Mums in Business group, actually got a private Facebook called the Ultimate Mums Club. So it's women in business or mums in business supporting other mums and vice versa. So that's kind of like a little side hustle. But moving on to what we've been talking to about mainly in this podcast, you can find me on Instagram. I've recently rebranded that, so I'm underscore Lucy Piper underscore. And I'm on Facebook, Lucy Piper. You can email me contact@lucy-piper.com. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it for you. I've got a little freebie link if anyone is struggling to find the right care for their elderly loved ones. I've got a little freebie download that I'd be happy to share with your listeners. So I will send you the link. And that then will obviously allow you to sort of learn a little bit about me and how I can support you further. Any Little Thing is our company, and we've got a business page. And I've also got a private sort of group. Sounds like I've got too much, really, doesn't it? A private group where I support people. They tend to be the people that I've worked with, and it's called Finding the Right Care for Your Elderly Loved Ones. So any of those places you can find me. And if you're a woman in business and you want to help someone who's not very good at technology, come find me on LinkedIn. I'm Lucy Piper, elderly care expert on there as well. So basically, if you Google Lucy Piper or look for me on Facebook, you should be able to find me somewhere. And I'm more than happy for anyone to email me or reach out, and I can send you any relevant links that you're interested in.
Amazing and amazing, and I'm sure women out there, they will get inspired and empowered by what you said today, and people who struggle out there, um, with the elderly and to look after the elderly, they can contact you as well. So thank you so much, Lucy.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure, and I really do mean it. I always say I'm more than happy for anyone to reach out. You can grab some of my time. We'll factor it in somewhere because I appreciate that it can be quite a lonely journey. But if you want to reach out in any way, shape, or form, my door is always open.
Fantastic, and I'm sure they hear you, and I'm sure they're gonna come and running, knocking your door.
No problem. I shall be here waiting.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Lucy. I hope listeners, women out there, they hear your story and they see how empowering her story is. I mean, from ordinary person, she able to create all that success and be able to balance between motherhood and a business and being such a successful woman in the industry. So if you guys want to reach out, Lucy, I will leave all the detail, all her contact detail, including the business and the name of the business, the links, down below in the description on the podcast on Spotify to reach out to her. And until I see you next time, bye bye.